Hi everyone, welcome to Buddha School. Today I'm going to talk about astral travel and soul travel. And I already have a Buddha School episode about out-of-body experiences, and it was a little bit short, so some of that will be included here too. I'll expand on that. See, there is so much terminology, and then there's so many different spiritual experiences that can possibly happen. And so it's kind of nice to get it straight. See, often we're in a situation where somebody will have a really profound spiritual experience, and then they might misunderstand that that's the main experience, or maybe even that's the only possible experience. And so they might think that astral travel, soul travel, out of body, body-mind separation, and these things are all the same thing. But actually, many of them are very different phenomena indeed. And so part of what I'd like to do is have some discussions every once in a while on my channel about some of the different experiences that are available and what they look like, because I've been involved in spirituality for about 20 years here in Thailand and have been through a whole host of masters. It is wild here in Thailand as far as what you can find, the different practices inside Buddhism, different types of Buddhism, and different type of healing and spiritual practices. And I have been seeking through all of them for a very long time. And so I've been fortunate enough to have some experiences, enough experiences that I can clearly see the difference in quality and just the total type of experiences that you can have, and then the resulting benefits and all of that. So I'd like to discuss it with you. So let me mention first the out-of-body experience and the experience of astral travel. There can be some similarities, but here's how I see it. The out-of-body experience is usually where we are still near our body. So our consciousness lifts out of the physical body and is able to turn around and look at our own body. So we can see our body there in the position that it is, either sleeping or in a coma, or in some cases near or almost death experiences, or dying and coming back experiences, where the consciousness is still sort of floating around the room. And sometimes it can hear what's going on inside the room, outside the room. And it's actually one of the more vivid experiences, and certainly points to life after death and what that might look like based on what you've experienced in this life and what's available for you. It has an afterlife kind of a feel to it. And it really feels like a powerful and tangible experience, easy to remember, and you feel very awake and alive. And it usually will center around still you. You feel like you, sort of, except with less pain, but you kind of know you're that person that's laying down there in the body. You're just out of the body right now, but you're still highly identified with that person in the body that's laying there, and also the relatives of the person in the body, although you don't really care that you're going to die or in a coma or asleep or whatever. You're kind of willing to leave. And that's generally what the experience looks like out of body. In some cases, there could be an accident or a catastrophe about to happen, and the consciousness just shoots out, and you can see yourself in the situation. In that situation, it's not always an out of body. It's out of body if you're kind of really far from the body and looking in. It can be a body-mind separation, like in Vipassana, if it just feels like the mind is separate from the body. But I discussed that in more detail in another podcast, which is, or in this Buddha School format on my channel, which is called, this one, I think the title of that one is Out of Body versus Mind-Body Separation. Now with astral travel, it is a more subtle experience than the out-of-body experience. And with astral travel, it's usually not, I would say that maybe the defining characteristic of it, how we can separate it from the out-of-body experience, is that it's not near the body at all. So astral projection is similar, although astral projection is usually intended. You're trying to bring your intelligence to somewhere else and see what's there. And sometimes astral travel doesn't have to be intentional, but your consciousness will go to somewhere else in the world, another geographical location, even somewhere else in the universe, like exploring other planets and things like that. With astral travel, we can also travel to different realms of existence. So not just go out into outer space, but actually different frequencies than the physical world, and travel to different realms of existence. However, these experiences are happening sort of in the mind's eye. So they often appear like a dream, sometimes even get muddled in with dreams and our thoughts. So often these experiences are either extremely short and clear, or they're kind of mixed in and muddled with our thoughts and dreams that are going on. So I can talk about a couple personal experiences to help paint the picture of astral travel. In the astral travel case, I was receiving Reiki once, and well, I've received Reiki many, many times, but in this particular time, I was sort of asleep, but yet still was conscious, and I started to notice that I could see the highway nearby. I was in Bangkok, and I was noticing a whole bunch of traffic and just sort of hovering over traffic. But sort of at the same time, it felt dreamy. It didn't have that clarity of the out-of-body experience, and it was way somewhere else. So when I snapped out of it, I realized that I had left and had been floating in the sky over Bangkok traffic. So that's an example, not a very exciting one, but it's an example of astral travel. Now there's other examples of astral travel where in a psychic skills course where I was able to have astral projections where I would be imagining things and then trying to locate information, and then poof, there would be psychic impressions of that area. That I would call an astral projection, because I could then come back and talk to the person. Like, so for example, I would project into somebody's house that I've never been to before, and then I could give them explicit details, irrefutable details about some of the things that are in their house so that they knew that I was there. But it's not like out of body where you really feel like you're there, but you get these impressions in your mind's eye. It's sort of like you're kind of looking through a video camera at everything going on there, but you're still sort of cognizant in some way that you're still sitting in your chair or laying in your bed. It's not a full out-of-body experience, and occasionally it can almost be like one, but it's just so momentary that it isn't vivid. So I was able, in this case, to go to somebody's room, to their house, and then explain some of the way that, oh, this was interesting, this wall is slanted, and did you build your cupboard or your clothes closet on an angle so that it could fit with this angled ceiling and things like that. So very, very specific things I was able to notice. Also, a pickup truck and the color of the pickup truck. In another case, in front of their upcountry cottage, and these types of things, which make it obvious that it wasn't just guessing, and the feeling was sort of being transported there, but only in the mind's eye, not the whole body, or not this feeling of freedom or bright alertness that happens in the out-of-body experience. It is a bit more muddled and a little bit less clear, the astral travel experiences. Then there are astral travel experiences where you can actually go off-world, and I've had a couple of those. Again, sort of dreamy, and you often aren't sure, was that real? Was that not real? But sometimes the information that you receive, or a conversation you might have with a being, seems like you received information that is far beyond the scope of what you know. And therefore it seems like, oh, I think something special happened there. And it does have a different texture than channeling information does, because there's a sense of you're out there talking to someone, and you kind of have some impressions that come up of what it is that they look like and your surroundings. So even maybe on another planet or in another realm. Often in meditation, when it gets quite bright, there might be impressions of other realms and other beings that are available in other realms. And that often appears, again, like you're not really going there. You still know where your body is and that you're sitting there doing the meditation, but you can project your consciousness forward and sort of get a peer into what they're doing there, or what the realm looks like, or the beings look like. But again, not as alert and vivid as an experience like out of body. Because this is getting a bit long, I hesitate to talk about soul travel, which is another experience. I think I'm going to leave soul travel for another talk and compare it to astral travel and out of body, because soul travel is a totally other experience, another experience, and it's a very, very powerful one indeed when it happens. So hopefully that gives some clarity regarding the differences between out-of-body experiences, astral travel, where you sense that you're somewhere else and in a bit of a dreamy state, and astral projection, where it's similar to astral travel, but you're certainly trying to go somewhere to obtain some information. So hopefully you all enjoyed that, and that helped to clarify some things. And I'm sure in upcoming Buddha School episodes, I'll be clarifying more and sharing more experiences with you. Please like and subscribe, and I really appreciate listening to the end and all that stuff, because for the algorithm to have your videos get into searches, it's really important that people like, subscribe, and listen to the end. So thank you so much, and feel free to comment down below. I'd love to hear what you have to say, and if you have any questions, they might end up in a future episode of Buddha School. Bye for now, everyone.